Okay, when I started doing the Loki reviews, I said I was going to try to make these shorter than usual to save time, and then the episode 2 review got longer by several minutes. Let's not make that a recurring thing since I still have more stuff to do this week. Episode 3 begins with variant Loki, who I've dubbed Lo-She until she gets a proper name, having drinks with the commander from last week at some tropical resort somewhere, or so it seems. Actually, this is all taking place in the commander's mind, and Lo-She is putting the mental whammy on her to get her to cough up the timekeeper's location. And this is happening right when Loki and company were entering future Walmart last week. Then we're back in the present with Lo-She and Loki having just portaled out of future Walmart and they wind up back at the TVA. Lo-She emerges first and kills quite a few TVA agents on her way to the elevator. Loki comes out next, gets his trusty knives out of the locker they were stored in, and he finds Lo-She at the elevator where they have a fight scene showing them to be fairly evenly matched until they're interrupted by the judge and more agents. They're probably armed with more of those weapons that screw with time, so Loki grabs the portal gizmo off Lo-She and whisks them away from there. They get spit out on some alien moon that's about to crash into the planet it's orbiting, another apocalypse so the TVA won't find them there, and the rest of the episode is about 80% banter. That's either going to do it for you or it's not. Now, I know a lot of people were bored by this, and again, I just don't agree. The interplay between these two is really entertaining, and visually, the episode has a ton of stuff going on. A lot of it is them bickering as they walk across this barren moon while meteorites are raining down all around them. Pretty respectable green screen here, but the really jaw-dropping stuff is at the end. Anyway, Lo-She tries to possess Loki like she did with the people at Future Walmart, but it doesn't work. Seemingly. And since Loki hid the portal gizmo with magic, and since its batteries are dead and Lo-She is the one who knows how to recharge it, they're stuck with each other for the time being. They get a little bit of exposition out of the way. Lo-She prefers to be called Sylvie, and her possession power is called enchantment, so they all but spelled out for us that this is the Enchantress, or some version of the Enchantress. And that's cool. Yeah, she's a character I've been hoping would show up in the MCU for a while now. This presentation of the character wouldn't have been my first choice, but I guess going more comics accurate wouldn't have been PC enough. I do like the actress though, and she fits this more quirky comedic take on the character, so I'll give it a shot. So they set out to find a power source to recharge the portal gizmo, and what follows is a lot of walking around, a lot of dialogue, and there's been a bunch of talking heavy scenes like these in the first 3 episodes, and I'm still not sure why some people are turned off by them. The dialogue is funny, first of all, and second, we're learning new stuff all the time, like how Sylvie didn't really have a plan here. She just wanted to destroy the TVA, create a huge power vacuum, and walk away laughing. She just wanted to be an agent of chaos. But why? What motivates her to do that? Is it just that the TVA has been hunting her, or is it something else? Questions like these are interesting to me. They come upon this run-down old house. Loki suggests that they use guile to get inside, but Sylvie's like, that, forces her way in, and then they pull a Kill Bill on her when she gets shot in the chest by the woman behind the door. So Loki shapeshifts into the woman's husband, who we saw in a picture through the window. He tries to fool her, and he gets shot in the chest too. Theirs was not the happiest marriage, it seems. They're getting nowhere here, but the woman tells them about an ark that's going to be shipping people off the moon before everything goes tits up. That might have the power they need, so they head for the train station, where they bicker over how to get on the train. Loki disguises himself as a guard, but another guard won't let Sylvie on without a ticket, so Sylvie enchants the guy. Teamwork for the win. This train is weirdly high class considering how barren and rustic the rest of the moon is. There's food and champagne and more than enough space to hold all the people waiting in line who didn't have tickets, and I'm not sure why, except that it's to enhance the atmosphere for Loki and Sylvie because their little adventure basically turns into a date at this point. They're talking about their mothers and being adopted, and how it's bizarre that the woman at the house chose to stay behind and die, but she did it because she was in love, except she hated her husband. But maybe hate and love are kind of the same. But what is love really? And before you know it, they're talking about if either of them are in a relationship right now, which is messed up on a number of levels. I was so weirded out by this at first. This is a female version of Loki. They're the same person. So if they were to hook, I don't know if that would be in or some deranged form of but either way, there's some fucking issues here. But the more I mulled it over, the more it started to make a kooky kind of sense. Because Loki is so full of himself that, if you think about it, the perfect person for him really would be another version of him. And that's when it clicked into place for me. And yeah, it's twisted and it's f***ed up, but I kind of want to see it happen now. Neither of them trust the other enough to sleep while the other's awake, but Sylvie nods off eventually, and she wakes up to find Loki leading a drunken sing-along with the other passengers. He's having a great time until he notices her watching and switches to a sad-sounding song in what the closed captions told me was Asgardian, even though they always speak English on Asgard, which could have been about anything. She's irritated that he ditched his disguise, paranoid about getting caught since the TVA have been hunting her for her whole life, or so she says. Loki thinks it's fine though, but then some guards come in asking for their tickets, and since Loki's too drunk to conjure anything up, they have to fight these guys. The more fights Loki gets into, the more I wonder about his strength level. As someone from Asgard, he's supposed to be stronger than a normal human. We've seen him get roughed up by the Hulk for crying out loud. Now in some of the fights on this show, you can make excuses, like maybe the TVA have technology that even the playing field, for example, but here they're just fighting normal people, and it doesn't appear as if either Loki is any stronger than they are. I thought there might have been a reason for this at first, but now I kind of think the writers just forgot. So the fight's going pretty well. There's some comedy in there. Loki tries to take out a guy restraining Sylvie, but he's drunk and his aim is off, so he almost kills her when he throws the knife. And eventually he gets thrown out the window, and since he's got the portal gizmo, Sylvie has to go after him. And to make matters worse, the portal gizmo broke in the fall. Maybe. I'm not ruling out that being an illusion on Loki's part. So now they've got a big damn problem. Sylvie's really demoralized, she thinks they're screwed, so Loki has to boost her spirits here, and he points out there is that ark that's leaving the planet pretty soon. It always gets destroyed, but it never had them on it before, so that could be a thing. Then we have more walking and talking. I get that this is turning some people off and they want more action and excitement or whatever. I'm just not on the same page. There's a lot of stuff here that I find interesting. Like I said before, very little of this feels like filler to me. It might come off that way, but they're planting a lot of seeds here. Loki's been talking a lot about himself and doesn't know much about Sylvie yet. He's still wondering if he can trust her. So to grease the wheels, she tells him how her enchantments work. And the way they work is, she has to touch somebody to grab a hold of their mind, but the stronger ones resist her, so to gain control, she creates a fantasy from their memories. And that raises the question of, is this even real right now, or has the whole scenario of this episode been playing out in Loki's head after she touched him in that earlier scene? I don't know, but I guess it's possible, and I'm not sure which way I want it to turn out. That would be a great swerve, but I also like where this episode is going, and I don't want that to all be a fake out. Anyway, creating a fantasy from the memories is what she did to the commander. And that was a memory from before the commander joined the TVA, which Loki is shocked to learn because he was told that the TVA agents were all created by the Timekeepers. But no, Sylvie says, they're all variants themselves, they just don't know it. And now we've got confirmation that there's something up about the TVA. They are not what they appear to be. I doubt anyone really thought they were, but now it's official. So they make their way to this alien city, and this is a fantastic looking set piece. A good deal of it is CG, but a lot of it's practical too. This was basically the equivalent of the canyon sequence from Falcon Winter Soldier in that it looks like they spent about half the show's budget on this one scene, and holy crap was that money well spent. They built entire buildings, a whole town pretty much, and dressed it up to look all alien and shit. There's this huge crowd of people there trying to get on the ark, and the moon is about to crash into the planet, remember? So things are coming apart really fast, everything's crazy, we see these huge planetary bodies up in the sky breaking into pieces, things are about to get completely nuts here, and what happens next is incredible. There's this 3-minute long tracking shot with no cuts as Loki and Sylvie try to navigate through this town to get to the Ark. They're fighting off guards from the train, trying to weave around tons of panicking bystanders. There's explosions going off, buildings collapsing all around them as debris rains down from the sky. So many moving pieces I couldn't keep track of them all. Absolute chaos everywhere, all done in one shot. I had to scrape my jaw off the floor. From a filmmaking standpoint, this must have been a goddamn nightmare to shoot, and I don't know how they pulled it off, but it's impressive as hell. So Loki and Sylvie just barely missed the Ark, and it gets destroyed. That was their only chance to get off the moon before this particular apocalypse. Now they're really up shit creek, To be continued. Anyone still calling Loki boring after that final scene, I think has just made up their mind to hate this show no matter what. Maybe it just isn't for them, whatever. I don't know how you can watch a sequence like that and still be bored, but I'm kind of a filmmaking geek, so I see a shot like that and I know how hard that must have been to pull off, so I'm just glued to the screen. That whole sequence was unbelievable. And yes, most of what led up to it was slow-paced. It was a lot of dialogue, a lot of walking around and talking, a lot of character stuff. And for some people, that's just not what they want from a Marvel show. But I don't get that because the whole selling point of the show in the first place was the character of Loki. Now here's an episode that, until the last couple minutes, is largely focused on Loki's character, and people call it boring. I just don't think I'm gonna see eye to eye with these people. All the character stuff is still really interesting to me. Whether Sylvie is meant to be the Enchantress or not, she grew on me very quickly, and their dynamic is a lot of fun, where they don't trust each other, and they're both trying to pull one over on each other at the same time. Meanwhile, there's a connection developing between them, but they're both versions of the same person, so if they did get it would be all kinds of up, but in such a way that you can't not look at it as you pass by because the idea of them does make a crazy kind of sense. And even if the dialogue scenes didn't do it for you, the production team did a lot to make them interesting visually, with the different colors and all the meteorites falling and stuff. And to top it off, you've got that amazing final sequence, which... holy shit, I was ready to give the episode a thumbs up based on that scene alone. So, nitpicks aside, I still think Loki's in good shape here. That's another episode I liked. We've got 3 in the can now, and I'm having fun with it so far. Now, because time travel is such a big part of the show, we probably won't know for sure if the writers were able to not f this up until the whole thing is aired, and there's still a good chance that the story could completely unravel really quickly, but I'm rooting for him right now, so... here's to not f***ing it up. That's your review of Loki Episode 3. I'm recording this on Thursday, hopefully getting it out by Friday, and I can keep that up for the rest of the show's run. Leave a comment down below, let me know what you thought about this episode, ding the bell icon, and follow me on social media so you'll always know when I upload new stuff. I also have a live streaming channel now, the links are down there. Thumbs up the video, share, subscribe, make sure you're still subscribed, and I'll be back with more soon. So stay tuned for that, do all the YouTube things, and I'll see you next time.